Yo, what is up, people? You already know what it is. It's the best damn sports podcast, period. It's the hottest sports podcast in the South. It's Sentell live on Facebook. I'm your host, the sensational Sentell Whiteman. Glad that you decided to watch and tune into the program tonight. Got a good show. I hope everyone had a good weekend. I did, even though I worked, but a big, huge weekend in sports. Obviously, the NBA playoffs started this weekend. We had a few college football spring games, some college baseball. We had some recruiting news over the weekend. So there's a lot of things to get into in the world of sports. So glad that you're here to let me be your guide in the world of sports. Also, I got a disclaimer and also a little interesting tidbit now going forward. If you watch this show live, then thank you and lucky you. So if you watch it live, you're good. But once the show is over, the only way to watch the playback and to watch it again is you have to go over to my YouTube channel, which is at Sentell's Intel on YouTube, and you can watch yours truly in its entirety of the playback. But if you're watching live, that's good. I'm glad you're watching. But if you don't get to catch me live, it's all good. No need to worry. You can go to my YouTube channel again. That's Sentell's Intel over on my YouTube channel, so you can catch me if you don't see me live. But again, welcome into the program. You know what it is, Sentell's Intel, the hottest sports podcast in the South. Had a lot of good NBA action over the weekend. We're gonna talk about LeBron and the Cavs, of course. After that game 1 loss, we're gonna talk about the Spurs a little bit. Talk about Khawi Leonard a little. We're gonna talk about James Harden. He's been sensational. We're gonna talk a little bit about all the playoff games, the matchups. We got a couple games tonight, a couple game twos tonight also as well. And we'll dive into a few other things. Hopefully, get some phone calls and some comments. So, but with that, let me start with this. This is where I want to start tonight. If I can get my stuff together, I can start this program. So I wanna talk to all my Clemson Tiger football fans. That's who I'm talking to today. That's who I'm talking to right now. Clemson Tiger football fan. That's who I'm talking to right now. That's the person I want to talk to. You know, I like you guys. I like most of you. I'm friends with a lot of you. I like most of you. And like I said, I'm friends with a lot of you. But you people are starting to get on my damn nerves. And I mean that in the most nicest way. You people are really starting to get on my damn nerves at Clemson. You guys have been spoiled rotten by Deshaun Watson. He spoiled you guys. He spoiled you rotten. Now you think every quarterback that comes on your roster is supposed to be a transcendent, once-in-a-generation type player for your program. And that's simply just not the case. That's why they're transcendent. That's why they're once-in-a-lifetime generational players. Take it from a guy who had a transcendent culture-changing quarterback. We've been trying to replace him for a decade now. Ask Texas how difficult it is to replace a transcendent quarterback. They've been trying since 2005. It is not easy to replace these once-in-a-generation type quarterbacks and players. Deshaun Watson just may have been the greatest player in Clemson history. Now everybody expects, all of you Clemson Tiger fans, now all of you guys expect your quarterbacks to be Deshaun Watson. And that simply is just not the case. Now that brings me to my next point. Kelly Bryant, first-year starter for the Clemson Tigers, led the Tigers 12-1, ACC title, into a third straight playoff berth in the CFP. But no, that's not good enough for Tiger fan. That's not good enough for Clemson fan. Not at all. They need more. They want more. Never mind. Again, this guy who was a first-year starter in college football, led the team to a 12-1 record, ACC title, and a playoff appearance. Now the whole entire fan base ready to rid their hands of him. They're ready to wash their hands of him clean. How quickly do they forget? Based on a spring game, I want to remind you, Clemson Tiger fans, to calm your tits. And excuse me, ladies, calm your tits. It's a spring game, people. And I've known Trevor Lawrence before he even committed to Clemson. He looks like the guy. He looks the part. He looks outstanding. And I do not doubt that he will be outstanding and sensational. He has all the tools to be the next guy. But it's a spring game. Calm down. He knows there's no threat of getting hit. Defenses put in plays specifically to give the quarterback a certain look that they're trying to see what he's going to do with that look. It's a glorified practice, people. Calm your tits. Kelly Bryant completed over 67% of his passes last year. And then what we like to call money time, big games. This is what he did this is what he did the first year starter of Clemson, following a legend, following a transcendent, once in a generation type player. This is what he did in what you call your big game. Against Auburn, 19-29, 181 yards passing, and a rushing TD, then turn the ball over. At Louisville, against them, reigning Heisman Trophy winner on his first road game, big atmosphere. He goes 22 of 32 for 316, a touchdown. Again, no interception, and he ran for 2 more TDs. At Virginia Tech, hostile environment, Blacksburg, Virginia. He goes 12 of 21, 186, 1 TD, no pick again. At NC State, who I was super uber high on, he goes 20 of 38, 191, 1 passing TD, 2 rushing TDs. Against your arch rival Florida State, he goes 20 of 30, buck 51, not impressed number, he didn't turn the ball over. Against your in-state rival Gamecocks, he goes 23 of 34 for 272 and 2 TDs in the air. And in the ACC title game against Miami, he goes 23 of 29, 252, a TD in the air, and 1 rushing TD. But, oh no, this ain't good enough for Tiger fans. This ain't good enough for Clemson football fan. This is unbelievable how much stock people put in spring games. It is nothing more than a glorified scrimmage, a chance to see some of the newer guys get out there and move around a little bit. But you're not going to learn anything from a spring game that's going to tell you it's going to translate to a regular season game. You're just not, because you can't simulate any of it. Now, again, Trevor Lawrence looks to be the deal. I think he's going to be spectacular. I think he's going to be a really great college football player. But to just think that you could just rid your hands of Kelly Bryant and all your ills will go away, I'm telling you right now, you're playing with fire. That is dangerous to think this. Again, a 1-year starter. Let's see the guy improve in the offseason. He has some things to work on. Let the guy get on the field in the fall, see what he does, and make that decision. But to base it off a spring game with a guy who led you to a 12-1 record, took you to the ACC title game, won it, looked great doing it, and then you run up against Alabama, 1 bad performance, and all of a sudden he's the worst quarterback in the world. And that's simply not true, Tiger fan. Tiger fan, I told you, I appreciate you. I liked you guys. I like some of you guys, but you are ridiculous. Let me just tell you, Deshaun Watson was great. 3 years of Deshaun Watson. He was great. 38-5. 3 years he was at Clemson. Now, he didn't play all these games, but just his 3 years at Clemson, he was 38-5, his record. As a sophomore, he threw for 4,100 yards, 35 TDs, 13 interceptions. As a junior, he threw for 4,500 yards, 41 TDs, 17 picks. Those are that is ridiculous. And for you to think that every quarterback is capable of this is utter nonsense. Every quarterback is not capable of this. I told you again, as a diehard Gator fan, I have been trying to replace a transcendent great quarterback for almost a decade now. Texas has still not replaced Vince Young. That was 2005. That is how difficult it is to replace a transcendent quarterback. So, Clemson fans, you need to calm your tits and understand what's going on here. Because it wasn't long ago, not just 7 seasons ago, you guys were 6-7. And the 9 seasons before that, you were 9-5, 7-6, 9-4, 8-5, 8-4, 6-5, 9-4, 7-6, 7-6, 7-5. Excuse me. That what you were prior to the last 7 seasons. So calm your tits because it can easily be taken away from you. You've so spoiled rotten that a guy who took you 12-1 and took you to the playoffs, you think he can't play. Then you ready for this shiny new toy. We all like new things. We all get it. But I encourage you to pump your damn brakes just a little bit. You're absolutely ridiculous. I cannot believe how much of this nonsense I've heard today. And since Saturday, really. It's just nonsense. Like, again, Kelly Bryant has some things to work on. The vertical passing game has to come. But a first-year starter transitioning into his second season is you expect him to improve. And I know the young man, he's going to work hard, and I expect him to improve. So I expect his game to get better, and the offensive for the passing game should improve. He's a first-year starter. He goes 12-1, takes you to the ACC title game and a playoff appearance, and you guys are acting like the world is going to end if he starts. it's unbelievable to me. So, Clemson fan, I have no issue with most of you, but I'm gonna need you to calm that noise down a little bit and let this thing play out just a little bit longer, okay? I'm gonna need you to do that. Can you do that for me? Thank you. I hadn't ran it like that in a while. It's been a while since I ran it like that. I just had to get that off my chest. Let's turn to the NBA now. Weekend Saturday with the start of the NBA playoffs. Saturday started with Spurs versus the Warriors. Warriors defeated the Spurs 113-92. The Warriors were led by Kevin Durant. He was good. I ain't gonna say he was sensational. 24 points, 8 rebounds, 7 assists, but the game was never really close. I don't know what the Spurs are gonna do without Kawhi. Honestly, I just don't know. The Spurs starting lineup Saturday scored a grand total of 33 points. Let me repeat that again. 5 players that started the game combined for 33 points. One guy scored just as many points as me and you guys who out there watching scored. That would be 0. So I don't know what the Spurs are going to do, and we're going to talk about Kawhi in just a little bit. That game was followed by Game 1. Toronto defeated Washington Wizards 114-106. Toronto was led by Serge Ibaka. He had 23 points, 12 rebounds. John Wall led the Wizards 23 points. He had 15 assists, but it wasn't enough to defeat the Raptors. The thing that I noticed the most about the Raptors this year, they're not just Kyle Lowry or DeMar DeRozan or bust. Like, they didn't have a great game, but they still won because they have a little more depth in the starting lineup. They have a deeper bench this year, so it allows for them not to put as much pressure on Lowry and DeRozan because they only combined for 28 points, but they got 42 points from the bench. So that's the difference that I noticed in Toronto. So they get the win in Game 1 over Washington Wizards. Game 1, Sixers defeated the Heat 130-103. Ben Simmons led the Sixers 17 points, 9 rebounds, 14 assists. Kelly Olynyk led the Heat in scoring off the bench. He had 26 points, 7 rebounds. Again, the Sixers, even without Joel Embiid, a lot of depth, a lot of ways they can score the basketball and beat you. Guys are scoring all over the place. Saric had 20. JJ Redick dropped 28. Marco Bellinelli had 25. Ilyasova had 17. So they get contributions from everybody, even without Joel Embiid. On the other hand, the Miami Heat, I have no idea where they're going to get their scoring from. Kelly Olynyk, again, I said he led the team in scoring off the bench with 26 points. The highest scoring starter was Goran Dragic, and he had 15 points, but he's 4 of 14 from the field. Hassan Whiteside took 4 shots. 4. That's how many he took. He took 4 shots. That's how many he took. He took 4 for the entire game. So I just don't know whether they hang their hat defensively. And in this NBA, that is a recipe for disaster. It's hard to keep good offensive teams, especially the Sixers, like I said, that move the ball as well as they do with a lot of different scoring options. And you can see they scored 130 against a really good Miami Heat defensive team. So that was the situation there. The last game of Saturday was the Pelicans versus the Timberwolves. The Pelicans win 97-95, giving Anthony Davis his first career playoff win. He was spectacular, 35 points, 14 rebounds. Rajon Rondo had 17 assists. True Holiday had 21 points, but I don't even want to talk about his offensive game. He was outstanding on the defensive end. The job that he did on those Portland guards, that's the difference in the game. He was superb on the defensive end. Damian Lillard, CJ McCollum combined to go 13 of 41 from the field, only 37 points. That is an outstanding job defensively by the guards of New Orleans, specifically True Holiday. That's that's sensational work against that backcourt. And for Portland, I mean, it ends and begins with this backcourt. If they don't go off, chances are Portland's not going to win a game. So hats off to the Pelicans. We'll talk a little Anthony Davis maybe a little later in the program. On Sunday, the Celtics defeated the Milwaukee Bucks 113-107. And overtime, a really good, exciting basketball game. Al Horford led the Celtics 24 points, 12 rebounds. For the Bucks, it was Giannis, Greek Freak, 35 points, 13 rebounds, 7 assists. Chris Middleton was good for the Bucks. The Celtics, that's a gutted performance from the Celtics without Kyrie, banged up, Marcus Smart. But to get a win yesterday, that was big. My question for the Bucks, Chris Middleton played well, Giannis played well. What the hell, and I'm asking people out there, what the hell has happened to Eric Bledsoe? They traded for Eric Bledsoe early in the season. We thought this would be an upgrade. This would make this team significantly better. He has been atrocious. I mean, what that is an ABB out on Eric Bledsoe. I mean, he went 4-12 yesterday. He had 5 turnovers. He's not defending. He's not the guy that we most of us thought he was, a premier point guard in the league. He's not that. So if somebody can tell me what has happened to Eric Bledsoe's game, I would love to hear from you. Please tell me what has happened to Eric Bledsoe's game, because I couldn't find him yesterday. He was non-existent. That game was followed by the Pacers and the Cavaliers. The Pacers defeated the Cavs 98-80. An impressive road win for the Pacers to come in. They dominated from basically from beginning to end. They built a 23-point lead in the first half and kind of held on. I think the Cavs got down to 6, but that's the closest they ever got. Victor Oladipo, 32 points, 6 rebounds, 4 assists. He was outstanding. Bron had a triple-double, but to take away from the game, other than Oladipo, Cavs, the rest of the starters outside of LeBron combined for 25 points. Again, you got to get more. They have to get more from the starting lineup, specifically Kevin Love, because without that guy that I'm going to talk about here in a few minutes, Kyrie Irving, they have no second scorer other than Kevin Love. He has to be a 20-10 guy. He has, under no circumstances, he cannot score 9. He has to be a 20-10 guy consistently throughout this playoff for the Cavs to even get out of the East. That's what has to be expected of him. He's paid that way. So lights are on. Kevin Love, you got to show up. I don't expect Rodney Hood to average that. I don't expect Jordan Clarkson to average that. I don't expect George Hill or any of these guys to average 20. They are role players. I'm not expecting them to average 20 points. But I expect Kevin Love to be a 20-10, 20-12 guy a night. And he has to be. Otherwise, LeBron has to score 40. And you're asking a whole lot for a guy 15 seasons to have to average a 40 for a series, especially in the first round. So Kevin Love needs you to step up. That game was followed by the Thunder and the Jazz. Thunder defeated the Jazz 116-108. Paul George showed up and showed out. 36 points, 7 rebounds. He was great. Donovan Mitchell led the Jazz 27-10. Rebounds, 3 assists. But, where is Utah going to get their scoring from? I mean, Ricky Rubio is not a scorer. Joe Ingles is not really a scorer. Derek Favors could get you 20, but that's not what his career tells you he is. So where is Denver? I mean, where is Utah going to get their scoring from to beat OKC? I think Russell ended the season playing really well, and that's a great sign to see Paul George drop 36 in the opening round game. So looked like the OKC Thunder, which I think they took 3 or 4 from Utah in the regular season. So looked like the OKC Thunder starting to find their stride the right moment. And the last game of the weekend was the Houston Rockets and the Minnesota Timberwolves. Rockets defeated the Timberwolves 104-101. James Harden was spectacular, 44 points, 8 assists. T-Wolves were led by Jeff Teague, 15 points, 9 rebounds, 8 assists. That's a really good game from Teague. Rockets, a lot of contribution from a lot of different guys. Clint Capella had a great game, 24-12. My question for Minnesota, how does Karl Anthony Towns only take 9 shots? That cannot and should not ever happen. That should not and cannot ever happen. But Harden was just fantastic yesterday. It was just as good as it gets, 44. He's sensational. But 104-101, close game. I think Timberwolves can make this an interesting series. They can't win it, but they can keep it very competitive, especially to get the ball to Karl Anthony Towns a little bit. They can maybe win a game or 2. But that's your first games of the series for the NBA playoffs. There are 2 games tonight. Heat at Sixers, game 2, 8 o'clock TNT. And following that, San Antonio will take on Golden State Warriors at 10:30 on TNT as well. So those are your NBA playoff results from the weekend. With that, I'll open up the phone lines. You want to discuss the NBA playoffs, my rant earlier, or, anything you want to do in the world of sports. But we can. You can, whatever you want to do. 864-378-5943. 864-378-5943. Right here on the best damn sports podcast, period. Sentell. Live on Facebook. Hey, we're talking about the playoffs, and we're going to go back to the Cavs. And I asked how much trouble of the Cavs in. And I just simply broke it down. It's about Kevin Love because they have to have that second score. And, for years, Cleveland had this guy. They had another guy on the team other than LeBron. They had another guy, another assassin who could go out there and do the business and be that second guy who could carry that offensive load. And some people were out there, and I'm not going to call people names and put people on blast, but they made it seem as Kyrie was just another guy. Some people would make you think that Kyrie was just another guy in Cleveland. He was never just another guy. He is a superstar. It should be held in regards as such as a superstar. Kyrie Irving was able to allow LeBron James to not have to carry the load, to not have to initiate the offense all the time. That was a big help, and people just dismissed Kyrie as this cog in the offense, this rotational player. So, and with that, I think the Cavs will be fine. They shot 8 of 34 from the three-point line. So I think they'll be fine. I don't think they'll shoot it that bad again. Indiana shot it exceptionally well. I think Ty Lue needs to make a few changes, rotation. J.R. Smith needs to start. Tristan needs to play a whole lot more. I don't know what has happened to Tristan Thompson. Well, you know what? I know exactly what happened to Tristan Thompson. I know exactly what happened to Tristan Thompson. But we're not going to get into his man's personal life right here on my show. I'm not going to get into his personal life. Because if you got social media, you know what's going on with Tristan Thompson. We know, but he needs to play more. JR needs to start. Maybe Jose Calderon started at point as well. But they went, like I said, 8 of 34 for three-point line. They just didn't make a lot of shots yesterday. So that's one thing I think it fixed. But I'll back to my Kyrie Irving argument. For these people who are out here that, suggested that somehow Kyrie was just a guy and Cleveland wouldn't miss Kyrie and all of this other nonsense. This is where it's going to show up in the playoff. This is where you're going to see it, because when you get to the playoff, you have to have great offensive individual players who can go get you a bucket when it's time to get you a bucket. Cleveland only has one guy who can go get his own bucket, that can go get his own shot. You need guys who can get their own shot in this moment. Kyrie Irving in the 3 playoff appearances with the Cavs. And I'll just run out some of the numbers. In the first year, he only played 13 games, I believe, but he averaged 19 points. He shot 43% from the field, and he shot 45% from the three-point line. The 2015-2016 season, the year they won the NBA championship, and he also hit one of the biggest shots in Cleveland sports franchise history in the Game 7 of the NBA Finals. He averaged 25 points. He averaged almost 5 assists. He shot 47% from the field, and he shot 44% behind the three-point line. That's 25 points a game that you could pencil in. Do you know what that's like to pencil in a second guy for 25? What a relief that is to be able to pencil a guy in for 25. That is a huge relief. And just last year in the playoffs, he played 18 games. He averaged 25, 46% from the field. He averaged over 5 assists and 37% from the three-point line. And that's down. But 37% is way above the average in the league. And that was down from the previous 2 years. So this is what you're missing if you're Cleveland. This is ginormous. People trying to downplay Kyrie if he's not important. The playoffs are where you're gonna notice the most. He took a lot of offensive pressure off of LeBron James. They do not have another guy who can get his own shot. They are dependent. They are reliable. They are reliant on one LeBron James to get them their shot. Now they didn't hit their shots yesterday. But I expect them to hit their shots going forward in the series. But kudos to Indiana. They played a really solid game. And again, they took 3 or 4 in the regular season from the Cavs. So, maybe it's a good matchup for them. But that's Kyrie Irving right there. So for those of you who knocking Kyrie Irving, there you go. Lines are open, 864-378-5943. 864-378-5943. Talking NBA playoffs. I ran it earlier a little bit. I had to get some off my chest. I had to talk to Tiger football fan. I had to talk to him because he's been outrageous. He's been ridiculous since Saturday. He's been outrageous since Saturday. I just need to calm his nerves. I need to get him to calm down. That was on my mind. Let's see. There's some college football recruiting news over the weekend. Of course, we had the spring games. Let's talk a little bit about the spring game. We can talk a little bit about the spring game. You know, I watched Clemson. I watched Clemson a little bit. I watched mostly a Florida spring game. And again, it's a glorified scrimmage. What can you take from it that's substantial? What can you take from it that's constant? I say that fast. I ain't gonna even try it no more. That's a tough one on me. But what can you take away from a spring game? If you watch the spring game, you're watching me, call in, give me your thoughts on the spring game. I don't take a whole lot from it. Like I say, Trevor Lawrence, we know what he got. We know what he is. He has the rocket arm. He can move well. He has the size. He can do it all. He makes some fantastic plays. I will say this. T. Higgins is going to be an absolute problem for all defensive backs in college football. He's going to be a problem. He's a monster. He is an absolute monster. And it would behoove Kelly Bryant when he's out there playing to look in his direction a lot. Good things will happen. But if you want to talk about spring game, you can call in, you can comment. I don't take too much from it. I just enjoy it. It's good to see some football because you won't see it again until August. So it's always fun to watch a little football. So I know a few of you guys went to some spring games out there. If you're watching, you want to share some thoughts about the spring game, 864-378-5943, 864-378-5943. Oh, I was bringing up some recruiting news because typically when you have spring games, you have a lot of official visitors. You have unofficial visitors. So you get a lot of guys maybe committing while they're on the visit. Hold on a second, people. Got a comment if I can get my eyes fixated on it. This is a Florida spring game report from a guy who went to the spring game. All reports show that Trask played well in the spring game. I was there personally. I didn't see that. What's your thoughts on Trask and Frank's Saturday? Again, it's hard because you can't simulate. They know they're not going to get hit. So your timing may not be as crisp as you think it is. For as Florida spring game, it's tough to really break it down because you're talking about 14, 15 practices, a whole new offense, a lot of new players, not a new skill position players. I do think that Franks would be the starter. Trask has made a lot of strides, as you can see, but he's void of a little talent. Decision making probably a little bit better than Frank's, but Frank's upside is still so much better, and he can actually move. As you can see, I didn't even see one zone read with Trask in the offense. And in a damn in the offense, the quarterback has to be a willing runner, and he's going to run the quarterback. And Franks does give you that. Now, in order for that offense to be successful, it needs the quarterbacks to be able to run. It needs the quarterback to be a willing runner. And I don't think Trask is committed to being a willing runner. And that may be about maybe the nature of it, because he's not a running guy. He doesn't look like a guy who's very nimble. I thought Frank missed some throws. Some of it was miscommunication. Like I said, once again, we had a couple option routes. I know that the receiver went one way, he went the other way, but that's communication. That's 15 practices with a new receiver. I thought Trask threw the ball better Saturday, made some anticipation throws, some throws on time, some rhythm throws that looked really good, but he just don't have the arm talent that Frank possesses. So, but moving forward, you got all summer. You see what the fall looks like. I expect Felipe to be the starter heading into the first game of the season. Not a lot could change between here and there. But for Saturday, I thought Trash threw the ball better, but Frank showed you that he's a willing runner and that he could do some of the things in Dan Mullen's offense that you normally would see out of a Dan Mullen offense. So that's my take on what I saw Saturday from that spring game. Lines are open 864-378-5943. NBA playoffs. Had a few college football spring games. You want to talk about that? We can. We'll talk about a little college baseball if you want to. Anyway you want to go. MLB. Anywhere you want to go. But I was talking about spring games because you got a few this weekend. You have Georgia, Alabama have theirs this weekend, but a few recruits get a verbal commitment this weekend. Oklahoma had a good weekend. They pick up 3 recruits. One with the number 3 overall player. This is according to Rivals, by the way. This is Rivals, not ESPN or 24/7. This is Rivals. They picked the number 3 receiver in the nation, Theo Weiss. Also picked the number 6 overall player, another receiver, and Ariel Henderson. And they picked the number 210 ranked player, a safety named Jamal Morris. So Oklahoma picked up 3 recruits over the weekend. FSU had a good weekend on the recruiting trail. They picked the number 28 ranked overall player, receiver Maurice Gooseby. Also picked up the number 72 ranked overall player in Dante Lucas, a guard. And they also added the number 202 ranked overall player, Jaleel McCray, cornerback. So a good weekend for Willie Taggart and the crew. Clemson had a big weekend as well, as you expect as of late. They picked the number 46 player overall and Frank Ladson, receiver. And they also landed the number 1 dual threat quarterback in the nation, number 145 overall player. And Tayson, I'm not going to even try to say his last name. I'm just going to call him Tayson P. So they picked up the number 1 dual threat quarterback as well as a big time receiver. Now, Ladson in the 24/7 is a 5-star receiver. So, depending on what site you're on, 4-5 star, he's a consensus 4-star All-American type receiver. So big pickup by the Tigers. Other commitments, Ohio State picked up an athlete in Ronnie Hickman. He was the 172nd ranked overall player. And TCU picked up a quarterback, Max Dugan, who was ranked number 247 overall. So those are some of the commitments from the weekend. According to Rivals, those are Rivals rankings. So if I said some of these numbers and you go look back, hey, that wasn't right, so-and-so was too high, so-and-so was too low, that's because I took it from Rivals. So you take that with a grain of salt. But huge weekend. But I want, we're talking NBA here. We're talking college football spring games. We're talking a lot of different things. I want to get back to James Harden. I kind of posted on the Sentell web page today the poll question, and it was simple: is James Harden the best individual offensive player in the league today? And I got to be honest. I got to say yes, because he can score the basketball in so many ways. So many ways. He's just dynamic offensively. And you look at him, you don't think he's athletic as he is. He got an array of moves. He can post. He can shoot it from outside. He can get to the hole. He draws a lot of contact. He goes to the free throw. He lives at the free throw line. This year he's averaging 30 points, 8.5 assists, and 5 rebounds. He's obviously the MVP of the league. He's shooting 44% from the field. He shot 36% from the 3-point line. He shot 85% from the free throw line. So he's just a dynamic offensive playmaker. I don't know what you do with him defensively. He can hurt you in so many ways. And I put up his numbers since he's been in Houston. I mean, some of these numbers are just, they're ridiculous. Some of these numbers he's had since he's been in Houston. 6 years, by the way. He's average playing 77 games. So I always say your greatest quality, availability is your greatest asset. Always being able to be there, playing healthy is just huge. Availability is your best quality. I've always stated that. So his average playing 77 games a year. His average field goal percentage in the 6 years is 44%. 3-point percentage is 35%, which is again that's above league average. That's really quality shooting. He's an 85% free throw shooter for his career in Houston. And this is what his career numbers are since he's been in Houston. 27.8 points a game, 7.7 assists a game, and nearly 6 rebounds a game. That's what he's averaging. If you want to round it up, it's 28, 8, and 6. 28, 8, and 6 since he's been in Houston. I mean, that is mind-boggling. Those are terrific numbers, and I would be willing to put those numbers up against anybody who you would deem an elite scorer in this league. And I'm not talking about best overall player because he doesn't really guard. The best offensive player in the league, individual offensive player in the league, is James Harden. There's nothing he cannot do offensively. Nothing. There's nothing he can't do. And he dominates the ball a lot. Well, since Chris Paul been there, he get off the ball a little bit. But because last year he had 11 assists. He averaged double-digit assists when they moved him to point guard. That's the kind of talent this man possesses, to go from a 2-guard all his life, go to point guard in the system, average double-digit assists, get back off the ball this year, and he's averaging 30, and he's still averaging 9 assists and giving you 5 rebounds. If you think there's anybody better than better than James Harden offensively, I would love to hear your take. That's my take. I would take James Harden. But if you have different thoughts and opinion on it, hey, love to hear from you guys. 864-378-5943. 864-378-5943. Right here on the Best Damn Sports Podcast, period. Sentell. NBA playoffs in full swing. We got 2 games. We have 2 games tonight. Sixers, Heat at Sixers at 8 o'clock. San Antonio at Golden State at 10:30. So tune into that. I've talked about Kyrie Irving. I talked about James Harden a little bit, but I kind of want to talk about Kawhi Leonard a little bit. And this is difficult for me. I don't know what to make of this. As fans, we have become in our mind that players play. They play. That's what they do. They play. And for him not to play, I know as a fan of of the Spurs, I would be extremely upset. I'm trying to see it from his side. If you don't feel right, you don't feel right. But we have been programmed as fans that you just go play. Like, especially in the playoffs, you just play. And whatever happens, happens. I watched RG3 basically on a busted leg in a playoff game, hobbling around just to be out there. Just to be out there on the field. We've been programmed to believe that our athletes special, especially top line. Kawhi is a top 5 player heading to this league. To this season. We would all agree that he's a top 5 player, probably the best 2-way player in the league. And for him to be medically cleared by the team doctors and the staff, and him basically choosing not to play, I just don't know. I just don't know what to make of that. Like I said, again, as sports fans, we are programmed that the guys just go out and play. And for a guy to say, I'm not healthy, despite being cleared months ago by the team, it's just a bad look. And if you're a Spurs fan and you're out there, maybe you can give me a little insight on this. If you got some thoughts on Kawhi, obviously he doesn't trust the Spurs medical staff, which I have no reason to believe they're not a really good staff. You look at a Manu and a Tony Parker and Tim Duncan later in his career. It seemed that those guys seem to play a lot longer than we thought they would play. And you would think that has to do with the training staff and the conditioning program or some of that nature. I would hope that physicians would not put Kawhi in a vulnerable position, but I've just never seen anything like this ever. This is the weirdest thing I've ever seen. Buck Thomas, he's a Spurs fan, and I think there's more to it. Don't use RG3 because that playoff game ruined his career. I'm not talking about his career. I'm not talking about RG3's playoff career. I'm just telling you, we are programmed that our athletes, especially top flight athletes, and you're that guy, you play through injury. You play through pain. That's what you do. That's what we've been taught our entire lives as sports fans, as competitors, that you just play. You know, missing a meaningless December, January game, February game is nothing. But the playoffs have started. You're playing the defending world champions. Look how pathetic your team looks without Kawhi. And you can't not sit here and tell me these guys are thinking, I mean, what if we had Kawhi? What if we had Kawhi? Do we have any chance? You have no chance now. I mean, but it's not. I'm not making a point about it. Yeah, he should. Yeah, he probably shouldn't have been on the field. But that's what they do. That's what they do. That's why they go out there with broken arms. Like I think who's the guy, the linebacker for the Panthers a couple years ago in the Super Bowl. I think he dislocated his elbow, broke his arm. Like in the championship game, and 2 weeks later he played. Because that's what you do. That's what we've been taught that you do. You go out there and you just play, regardless, especially in the moments like that. So I'm just shocked. I can't believe Kawhi has not came back since early in the beginning of the season. I never would have thought that this would have dragged on for this long. And it has, I mean, it's dragged on for a long time. I am so surprised. I'm shocked by it. I can't even believe it. So if you have thoughts on Kawhi, 864-378-5943. Thoughts on the NBA playoff as a whole. How much trouble the Cavs in? Can Anthony Davis lead the Pelicans? How far can you take them? He was outstanding the other night, 35 and 14. How much do what else? I mean, anyway you want to go for it, the playoffs. The NBA playoffs are going to be really good. They always are. But we're talking that. Spring games. You got take away from the spring games. I don't do a whole lot. Again, I know he went to his independent doctors, and that's reported because we don't really know. I mean, he doesn't say anything, so we don't know where this information is coming from because we've been told throughout the year that it was reported he was going to come back at certain times of the season. So who's reporting this news from Kawhi? We don't hear from the guy. So we don't – he doesn't talk. He hasn't talked this entire time about a situation that probably would get a little more clarity if we could actually hear from him. It would be nice because I don't even know who represents Kawhi. So – for me, that's a report. That could be true. But what do we know? Well, I mean, what do we know? What do we really know? Because the guy doesn't talk. So we don't know a whole lot. 864-378-5943, 378-5943. You're listening to the hottest sports podcast in the South. You're watching the best damn sports podcast, period. Sentell. I'm your host. You know I am. The sensational Sentell Whiteman right here on Facebook Live. We've talked about a few things, mostly NBA playoffs. I'll go over the game one results again. Warriors defeated the Spurs Saturday 113-92. Toronto defeated Washington Wizards 114-106. Sixers defeated the Heat 130-103. Pelicans defeated the Trailblazers 97-95. The Celtics defeated the Bucks 113-107 in overtime. And the Pacers defeated the Cavs 98-80. The Thunder defeated the Jazz 116-108. And the Rockets defeated the T-Wolves 104-101. So that was your NBA action from this past weekend. Again, a couple games tonight. Heat, Sixers, Warriors, Spurs, game 2 tonight. Yeah, I mean, yeah, Isaiah definitely rushed back. Isaiah had a serious injury. But we knew that injury was serious. He rushed himself back. He should have probably taken more time. Now he was cleared by team doctors, but he should have taken more time. That is a serious injury. Hip is serious. I don't know what's wrong with Kawhi. It's a thigh. From what I hear, it's a thigh contusion. So I don't know what's the severity of it. We don't know. No one knows. I think Manu or either Tony, I think Tony Parker might have came out a few weeks ago, which was out of line. But it was funny to see it that Tony Parker came out and said that his injury a few years back was way more significant than Kawhi's injury. So where do we know? What's the severity of his injury? Again, Isaiah had a serious hip injury. We knew that at the time. We knew it in the offseason. So no one is shocked that he's going back out because we saw him after how he looked. He definitely was in a position where he should have taken more time, but he wanted to get back out there because he was trying to prove something, being disappointed that he got traded. So obviously that's to me, it's a different scenario, but we don't know the severity of Kawhi's little injury. No one knows. He doesn't talk. I mean, he doesn't talk. So we don't know what's going on with him. So I can't speak for Kawhi. We all can speculate all we want, but no one knows what's going on with Kawhi because he doesn't talk. Let me run through these college baseball scores of the weekend. You know, my baseball, college baseball, let's see, inquiry only involves 3 teams. I mean, this is short. It's always short, but I try to be respectful. The Clemson Tigers hosted Miami over the weekend. Friday, they lost 12-11 after leading 11-3 after 8 innings. So, that's a tough one to take. They also lost Saturday 6-1. Didn't play Sunday, got rained out. Obviously, it rained all in the upstate yesterday. The number 1 Florida Gators hosted Mizzou. They won 3-1 on Friday. They won 10-2 on Saturday. The Gators are now 32-6, the number 1 team in the country. The South Carolina Gamecocks traveled to Arkansas. They played a doubleheader on Saturday. They lost both games, 1-2-0, and the other 3-0. So they didn't score a run in the doubleheaders. So that concludes my college baseball portion of the program. I'll get to some MLB next week. A lot of intriguing things happening in Major League Baseball right now. The kid out in Anaheim is lighting up the baseball world right now. He's a phenom. Ohtani is a phenom. I mean, I'm look. We can go back and forth. I'm not saying he's not hurt. I'm no way saying he's not hurt because I don't know if he's hurt. All that I know, the team has cleared him to play, and generally, players play when the team clears. That's typically how it goes. And when a teammate comes out and says my injury was more significant than his injury, that's kind of telling. Now, he shouldn't have said it, but that's kind of telling to me. I don't have enough information to make a determination of how hurt he is. I know what is reported, his doctors are saying he's not cleared. Spurs said he'd been cleared months ago. So, I mean, where do we take that information? So it all comes down to who do you believe? Do you believe the Spurs or do you believe Kawhi? You can't speak for him because you don't know his pain threshold because you can't put yourself in his body. So we don't know how hurt he is. We don't even know what the injury is. It was a thigh contusion from the early reports of the season was a thigh contusion, that's nothing. So it has to be more serious. But nothing's been reported. There's nothing been reported about how serious the injury is since the initial diagnosis, which was a thigh contusion. And in my sports realm and world, most players play with something that benign. I mean, that's what I know. That's what I know. But I'm not trying to downplay Kawhi or anything of that nature. That's just what I know. If you're watching, hey, tuning in, welcome. Thank you for watching. Again, let me make this disclaimer and point out this caveat now. If you're watching me live, thank you. Kudos. I appreciate you for watching. Love the live audience because that's who give me my content for most of the time. But if you don't catch me live, the only way to watch the playback and to see my show in its entirety, you have to watch me on my YouTube channel. It's at Sentell right there on YouTube. Easy to find me. Look it up. If you want to catch me in my entirety, because if you didn't catch me live, you can watch it there. So that's where we're heading. So if you don't watch me live, you have to catch the show in its entirety of the playback on my YouTube channel at Sentell. What's up, James Simmons? You missed the college baseball portion of the program. You didn't want to hear it no way. Gamecocks lost twice in a doubleheader on Saturday and then score a single run. So it has not been good for your Gamecocks so far this year. And Mark Kingston's first season as the manager of the Gamecocks. So they're not looking good, having a rough season. So that was my baseball coverage. We're talking mainly NBA playoffs. Anthony Davis, I rave about the kid. He was spectacular, 35-14, had a great game. And I just shake my head and I just wonder out loud to myself, how good could this team be if Boogie Cousins never got hurt? And, we all laughed at Anthony Davis when he said that if Boogie was around, this team could get to the finals. And we all kind of laughed at him and kind of shrugged our shoulders. It was like, this guy can't be serious, right? But you look at this team now because they're defining their roles. Rondo, you know what Rondo going to do. He's going to run the floor. He's going to be a floor general. He's going to get everybody in the right position. Now, Drew Holiday is off the ball and becoming a more aggressive scorer. And then, you got the unicorn down there, Anthony Davis. He's special. He can do it all. And they guard and they defend like nobody else's business. So it'd be interesting to see can they get by Portland. But I mean, Anthony Davis made that statement. Now you wonder if they had Boogie Cousins, how serious of a threat they could be. Because I thought that as you could, if you watch this show throughout the season, I would say I think they're starting to figure it out because it took a while for them to figure out how to play off of each other, and they was just starting to hit their stride. They had a nice little winning streak right there before Boogie got hurt. So it's tough. I wish Boogie was out there, but this can be a coming out point for Anthony Davis, especially if he can get out of the first round. It would be a big feather in his cap. But interesting series. I just love the NBA playoffs. It's the best product of the professional sports, the playoffs, not the regular season, but the NBA playoffs is the best product of sports you can watch. It's played at a level that cannot be matched. Few NFL games can match that level. The NBA just gives you the best of the best. Not a couple teams, you got a few teams that probably can win it, but if you watch these teams, most teams have a great player. Like it seems like every team has at least one great player. Like they have one really good player, and it just makes the product so much better. and the game flows a lot better than college basketball. I just love watching NBA playoffs. It's always really really good. It's spectacular. So uh, make it back up here. Uh, mm. Yeah, I mean, I have no. Yeah, I mean, they're not going to beat the Warriors. I mean, regardless. Um, and if it's about getting this money next year, but would the Spurs pay you money next year, knowing that we cleared you months ago? Now he gonna get it regardless, but would the Spurs want to pay a guy who they probably in their mind feel like quit on them? So that's gonna be the question. He's gonna get his max deal. He can't get the 217 nowhere but the Spurs. But I'm sure he could go get 5 and 190 from somewhere else. But it'll be interesting to see the all season because a lot of stuff gonna come out. It's gonna eventually come out what happened behind those between the front office and Kawhi. It has to. It has to. Oh yeah, Phillies. They have arrived. I had them in the playoffs in the beginning. In the preseason, I thought they would make the playoffs. Definitely not a 3 seed. But the guys coming on a lot further and faster. They have built a really nice roster. Now keep in mind they're doing this without Joel Embiid. He's not even playing. So kudos to the 76ers organization. Actually, kudos to the guy who got fired, who started to trust the process. He actually got fired. Not the Colangelos are actually running the basketball operation, so they're getting all the praise. But this guy is the guy who built the roster. Other than folks, he built this roster, and tip of the cap to him. People laughed at him. They mocked him when he was coming up with this crazy idea of stashing away picks and stashed away Embiid, sock Ben Simmons. So people laughed at him and ridiculed him. Now he looks like a genius, even though he's not with a team. But I'm sure he'll be getting a job soon because that's his team, that's his process that's starting to play out right in front of your eyes. I'm not sure the Spurs weren't gonna pay him. Why would you think the Spurs not gonna play a top 5 player? They paid LaMarcus Aldridge in free agency, so why would they not want to keep a homegrown talent? I think they would have paid Kawhi if Kawhi had came in the season, averaged what he averaged last year, did what he's been doing for his career as a San Antonio Spur. They would have paid him. There's no doubt about it. Yeah, it's there. The next step for Ben Simmons is finding a jump shot is obviously becoming a better free throw shooter. But you never saw the motor he has that he plays with right now at college. You never saw this motor. And that's the thing about it. He played so lackadaisical in college. And again, it's the dumb one and done NBA rule, which I'm not going to get on as another subject for another day. Forcing these kids to go to school for 8 months who don't want to be there just because they have to. And it saps the life out of some of them. And Ben Simmons seems to be a prime example of that. He went to Louisiana State. He went to LSU. Really? You think Ben Simmons wanted to be at LSU for 8 months? You think he wanted to be in Baton Rouge for 8 months? Really? No, he didn't want to be in Baton Rouge for 8 months. Dumb NBA one and done rule. So sick of it. So tired of it. They paid LaMarcus Aldridge. What you mean it's not the Spurs way? They just paid LaMarcus Aldridge in free agency. That was not the Spurs way. That's something they never do. So they were gonna keep Kawhi. He's the homegrown talent. He is the guy. He's a top 5 player. He's the best two-way player in the league before this season. We don't know what he's gonna be like after this injury or whatever, but they would have to pay Kawhi. They would have had to. Well, I'll hang around for a few more minutes. Maybe I get a phone call or some more comments. 864-378-5943. 864-378-5943. Talking NBA playoffs. Is James Harden the best individual offensive player in the league? Question mark. How far can Anthony Davis take the Pelicans in the playoffs? How much trouble are the Cavs in? Clemson fan really need to temper their emotions down. They are really Clemson Tiger football fan, calm down. I'm gonna need you to calm down. You'll be okay. College football recruiting. We talked some of that. So anywhere you want to go, phone lines open, open topic. So if you want to get in before I get out of here, come on through with the phone call. 864-378-5943, 864-378-5943. Let me mention again that the the fan fantasy football mock draft that's presented by Khawi Dennis on Facebook that we do. This is the third annual one we're having. It'll be April the 24th. That's the Tuesday before the draft. So it starts at 9 o'clock. I think we fill most of the slots up, if I'm not mistaken. It's some fun. It's a lot of fun. You get to be your team's GM for a day. Look forward to that. I actually have to pick for two teams because we didn't have a team. I don't know how we didn't have a Carolina Panther fan. But if there are any Carolina Panther fans out there, which I'm sure there are, I don't know how we don't have any, and you want to get involved in this draft, hit me up or hit Khawi Dennis up, because I know it's some Carolina Panthers fan, because that's the team that I took, because we didn't have a person for. I took the Panthers, so I know there are some Panthers fans out there. There's no way we don't have any Carolina Panthers fans out there. So if you want to get involved in that fantasy mock draft, hit me up. It's easy. You draft for your team at the given spot. You write a brief write-up about that player and why did you think your team took him, and so on and so forth, and yada, yada, yada. That's how that works. If you missed it last week, I had my mock draft from 1 to 32. If you didn't see the show, tune in to my YouTube channel. You can watch me go over my mock draft from 1 to 32. If you didn't see the show last week, tune in to go over to my YouTube page, and you can check that out. Okay. Yeah. He said, Khawi Dennis gets in. He says, had a few guys who have multiple teams. So if you could maybe post that list of teams that you got, people who got multiple teams, and then maybe we could find a person for those teams. So if you want to kind of post that list right there of the teams that were available that we had to take an extra team for, that would be appreciated. I know there's some Panther fans. There's no way. I know one in my head right now, big Panther fan. I know. I know he wouldn't mind being involved in the draft process. But thank y'all for tuning in and watching. Thank you for listening. Sentell right here live on Facebook. Again, if you're not watching the show live and you didn't catch it live, you can go over to my YouTube channel at Sentell right there on YouTube, and you can watch it, show it in its entirety, and you can watch the playback to see me. I will return. I will be back next Thursday. Of course, NBA playoffs will be still going on strong. So we'll spend a lot more time. We'll probably spend a lot of time on NBA, getting closer to the draft. So we'll try to get in some prospects and talk a little bit about some of the prospects in the upcoming draft. And that's basically what we'll focus our attention on during these months. Draft, NBA, any college football news that may come out. We'll start getting into some MLB a little bit more as well, right here on the Best Damn Sports Podcast, period. As you can see, if you're watching the show, also go on, you can go on my page, tag me and go on my page and post some of those teams as well, because this video is going to be gone as soon as the show over. I just thought about that. It won't be up for about 20 minutes after the show, maybe half an hour. But thank you for posting that. Well, now the end is near. So I'm going to get out of here. It has been fun. It has been real. And it has been real fun. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching the best damn sports podcast, period. The hottest sports podcast in the South. Sentell. I will see you guys next Thursday. I am out.